Hello everyone, welcome to our latest Meet the Employer event. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Relay, sounds like Pele, but with an R. Today, we'll be talking about changing the mindset, adjusting for abilities with PwC, one of our unlimited employers. Okay, so let's get started with the presentation. I'd like to welcome Kim, Shah, and Lawrence from PwC. Kim will introduce herself and her colleagues and tell you all about PwC. So over to you, Kim.
Thanks very much for the intro, Relay. So we have on the screen now our agenda for the next hour. It's my pleasure to start us off by giving a bit of a welcome to PwC as an organisation and our approach to disability inclusion. Following this, I'll introduce our panellists and we'll have a bit of a panel discussion, and then there'll be the opportunity for some audience Q&A at the end. So if we could go on to the next slide, please. I'm going to start off with a couple of slides that just talk you through who we are at PwC. So some of you may be familiar with PwC already and what we do. Some of you may know us as a firm of accountants, and some of you may have never heard of us. To kind of sum it up, we're a professional services firm. We don't make or sell any products. In many ways, our product is our people. Our people provide their expertise in all areas of business, areas like cybersecurity, audit, digital audit, consulting, mergers and acquisitions, all different kinds of business services to other clients, which are other businesses. And we provide this expertise to help businesses improve, change, or manage the business that they carry out. So next slide, please. And this slide gives a bit more information about our purpose and our strategy. The work that we do at PwC is purpose-led and values-driven, which means we're very focused on how we contribute to society beyond profit generation. Our purpose is to build trust in society and solve important problems. And to be a purposeful, responsible business, everything comes back to this. It's really important to us to have a strong strategy built around quality and trust. And so we focus on 5 priority areas, which are displayed on the screen: leveraging technology, delivering exceptional client outcomes, empowering our people, a commitment to high quality, and sustainable, profitable growth. If we go on to the next slide, please. Here are a few more numbers for you, just to give you an idea of what we're like. So 3 different facts on the slide. We work with over 25,300 clients to help them create the value that they're looking for. In the UK alone, we have 19 offices. So that's across England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland in Belfast. And we have over 22,000 employees in the UK. But as a brand, PwC is also a global network of firms. So globally, we have over 284,000 employees across the world in over 150 countries. What this means for our colleagues is that we do sometimes work with other PwC network firms to solve cross-border problems. So there are lots of opportunities when working for us. If we go on to the next slide, please. I'd now like to share with you a bit more about our approach to inclusion and diversity. Given our purpose and our role as an organisation, this is absolutely paramount to us, because we're not going to be solving important problems or building trust if we don't employ diverse thinkers and have teams where people feel included and like they belong at work. So our 5-point inclusion and diversity action plan goes across all strands of diversity, from ethnicity to gender to sexual orientation to disability and neurodivergence. And it covers everything that we do at the firm to sustain improvement around representation and opportunities. So again, there are 5 areas that we continually focus on to drive this change. These are building an inclusive culture through developing our leaders' skills and by developing role models, ensuring that our senior leaders are accountable for delivering on our targets, making sure that we're driving fair allocation of work and opportunities for people from diverse backgrounds. Number 4 is our focus on recruitment activity, hence our partnership and work with organisations like Even Break, who are doing brilliant work in this space. And then the final point is looking at our talent pipeline and ensuring that people have access to progression coaches to help them develop their careers. If we go on to the next slide, please. This is a bit of information about our enablement strategy and approach. So it's part of our overall inclusion strategy, and we bring disability and neurodiversity together under the banner of enablement, because for us, it's all about empowering people and enabling people by removing the barriers that they may face in society and ensuring that their access needs are met. So we want to bring together the overlapping aspects of people's identity and recognizing that these communities exist while focusing on the barriers at a systemic level. So our strategy for us is one of our inclusion priorities for this year. And we look again at some priority areas. And for us, these are adjustments. So making sure that we have a robust policy and process to support colleagues. Belonging, so creating a level of awareness among all colleagues to reduce stigma and to create an open culture. And career, so focusing on the opportunities that our disabled and neurodivergent colleagues have to develop their careers at the firm, to join the firm in the first place. So it's really for us about coming back to this vision of creating a place where all disabled neurodivergent people and those who have long-term conditions are included, are enabled to thrive and feel like they belong. And on the right-hand side of the slide, there's some information about the activity that we've led to date, since this has been a priority area of focus for us this year, but indeed for the past couple of years since 2020. So I was remiss in not introducing myself at the beginning. I'm the Inclusion and Enablement Services Lead, and I sit in the inclusion team. And essentially, I'm a dedicated resource to help us deliver on our enablement strategy. And we've done a number of things at the firm over the past couple of years in this space. We've taken steps to review our recruitment processes and increase the information that we have about disability and adjustments on our website. We've launched an internal resource site for colleagues with information about disability and adjustments. We're working our way through the UK government's Disability Confidence Scheme and are currently at level 2 of that. And we've also done some research into our colleagues' experiences to understand the gaps and barriers that currently exist so that we can identify the strategic priorities to address those. So if we go on to the next slide, please. I've just got a little bit more information to share with you about the support that's available at PwC. So on the slide, again, there's just some different bullet points and information about the different types of support that's possible to access. So I'll go around them in turn. We have our health, safety and environment team who own our workplace adjustments process, and they will do things like workstation assessments and provide desk screen equipment and software adjustments for our people. We make IT adjustments, and it's possible to request assistive or adaptive technology via an internal catalogue that we have. We create accessibility guidance for all colleagues to use to help make communications more accessible, and this includes things like how to caption videos, how to design documents to make sure that as many people as possible can access them. I mentioned the resource site that we have internally called Enable. And then finally, we also have a disability awareness network. This is one of 14 people networks that we have at PwC, and they're there to create community and awareness and provide peer support. And if we go on to the next slide, please. This is a screenshot of our Enable site. So it's an internal Google site that we have. It's open to all colleagues, and it's really there just to provide a bit more information about what disability means, because we know that awareness can be low. Not everyone understands what is covered by the word. And it provides a bit of an A to Z with different conditions and impairments that people can live with and the kind of support that can be helpful. And then we also provide information on how to access adjustments if that's what people are looking for themselves or for a colleague. So with that in mind, that's just a bit more information about who we are and what we do. And now I'd like to turn over to the audience for a bit by asking a poll question to get us started on some discussion. So our poll question is, have you ever not shared your disability or neurodivergence during the recruitment process? And you can answer yes or no, and that should be coming up on the screen for you. So I'll just give everyone a few moments to have a think and answer.
Yeah, looks like a majority of everyone have answered. Should I end the poll?
Yes, please.
Share results.
Oh, really interesting. So we've got quite an even split there between yes and no. So 58% of people said yes, and 42% of people said no. Which I think is quite reflective of what we still see as an employer as well. And just to offer some quick reflections on this before introducing our panel, this was a topic we explored during the research we did internally, and as part of understanding how people experience our culture. And really a couple of main themes come up around this for us, which are reactions and relevance. So in terms of reactions, I think people do still worry about the impact that sharing, or to use kind of the formal term, disclosing, they worry that that's going to impact on the opportunities that they may have or how others might see them. And that's something that we're really working to try and address. And then also, to be fair, some people don't always see it as relevant. If they don't feel they need any adjustments during the recruitment process, then they may choose not to share that. And to be honest, we want to create a culture where being open is supported, but not obliged. So I think it'll be really interesting to hear from our panelists on some of their thoughts around these topics. So without further ado, if we move on to the next slide, it's my pleasure to introduce Shah and Lawrence. So Shah, Lawrence, hi. I'm going to come to each of you in turn and ask if you could give a brief intro to yourself, your role, whatever you may be comfortable sharing about your disability or neurodivergence, and let people know why you're here today. So Shah, if I start with you, if that's okay.
Yep, just checking you can hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Great. So my name is Char. I am a senior associate software developer in ARC. That is PwC's Advanced Research and Engineering Centre in Belfast. And I have a diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder.
Thanks so much, Shah. Lawrence, if I could come to you then.
Absolutely. I'm Lawrence. I am a director in our deals and financial crime business. I've been with the firm, depending on how you count, either 2 years or 13. I joined about 13 years ago and then I quit. But I came back because I really loved the firm and I wanted to come back home. And I have been living with left temporal lobe epilepsy. Well, I've probably been living with it all my life. We got the diagnosis about 15 or 20 years ago now, and we started to understand a little bit more about it.
Okay. Thank you both so much for sharing and for your willingness to take part and be open today. I'm going to start with the questions that we have. So if we could go on to the next slide. Our first question is for both of you. And it's, in what way does your disability or neurodivergence affect you in your day-to-day work? So Lawrence, I'll start with you.
Absolutely. There's probably a couple of ways. I think the biggest one for me is it affects the hours that I'm able to work, my sleep and work patterns. For me, with the type of epilepsy that I have, the amount of sleep and the timing of my sleep and my meals is critical in the management of that. And what that means is I need to have some flexibility. I need to have some capability to manage the timing that I work and the hours that I work and when I do things. I'm very fortunate. PwC, we have a concept called empowered flexibility, and I'm able to manage my time and my day so that although it impacts the way I structure my day, it doesn't impact my ability to do a full and high quality job for my clients and my teams. The other way it impacts me is on the social side. Going out and drinking late in the evening is an exceptionally bad idea for me. And unfortunately, at many firms and in many organizations and teams, that is one of the main ways that the sort of social side and the work relationships are developed. Now, that in some places has been a challenge for me. Again, at PwC, we the teams really go out of their way to make sure that any events, any external things are highly accessible to everyone, regardless of what might affect them. So it hasn't been as big a problem here, but at other organizations, it's made a real impact on my ability to feel embedded with a team and connected to my coworkers.
Thanks for sharing, Lawrence. I think it's interesting in how you reflect on the idea of day-to-day work. It's not just us sitting at PwC, say, where we have desk-based jobs for the most part, at our laptops producing the work. It's everything that comes around it and the team culture as well. So I might come back and touch on that. But first, I'm going to come to you, Char, and ask you the same question, please.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just a couple of things. So I have a low tolerance for noise. Working from home during the pandemic, that has got a little bit worse, which just, being in the office when there's people on separate overlapping calls, it can get quite overwhelming. So just knowing that there's quieter areas like where I am right now to go to definitely helps. It can take me a bit longer to process information and form concise answers. So I try to find out as much about meetings as possible beforehand, especially if I'm going to be talking, and write up a bit of a script. Context switching between focused work and general socializing can be really jarring for me. So the ability to set focus time on Google, which is visible then to everyone else, that's also very helpful. And yeah, unexpected video or voice calls can really throw me off guard. I have a strong preference for email or IM, especially when it comes to then having a record to look back on. Or, if it is necessary, a quick, hey, are you free message beforehand really helps.
Thanks for sharing, not just for kind of so clearly describing the impacts you experience, but also how you adapt and the tools available to you. I think that's really helpful. In the interest of actually making sure that we have a full discussion on all the questions, I'm going to keep moving through them, but maybe come back at the end if there's other interesting things that come out. So if we go on to the next slide, actually have a question for you, Char, which is, in the past, have you had an experience where you've had to share your disability or neurodivergence during the recruitment process, and were there any adjustments made?
So I was open and upfront with PwC during the application process earlier this year. I mentioned my autism spectrum disorder during the application process. However, I didn't think I would need any adjustments for an interview, as long as I prepared well enough. After my first interview, though, which was remote, completely virtual, I discovered that I really don't like being on webcam, especially in a formal setting. I was very self-conscious of how I looked, how I sounded, and it made it very difficult to recall past experiences and answer questions. I finished that interview feeling very disappointed in myself, that I hadn't put my best self forward. Yeah, but thankfully I had casually mentioned my ASD when I was asked how I found working from home during the pandemic. The interviewers then told my recruiter that they could tell my anxiety was holding me back. And they asked again, is there anything we can do to help you relax, make you feel more comfortable? Jumped at the chance that time, asked for an in-person interview for my second one here in the Belfast office. And I was also able to bring along some notes for backup in case my mind blanked. And I think I only looked at the notes maybe once, because just even having the safety net with me really helped me relax.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that's such a valuable reflection, because we're not always able to anticipate what a situation might be like until we're in it. So it's really encouraging to hear how that developed and how you were then able to find a method that worked for you. Can I ask, you said you made the decision to be open and upfront, which is really positive. What went into that decision for you? And did you have any concerns perhaps about reactions or anything like that?
I didn't really have any concerns about reactions. I wasn't actually diagnosed until I was an adult. So I already had a graduate position. So I'd never really had the opportunity to disclose during the recruitment process before. So yeah, I guess I just decided that I would rather they knew, should I need any adjustments.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, if we go on to the next question, which is for you, Lawrence, and you touched on this a bit, but I'd like to ask you, in what ways does PwC support you now in making adjustments at work?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Char highlighted something which I don't think I'd really thought about until she said it, and it really brought something into focus for me, which is that the adjustments that help us most are not always the big centralized workplace adjustments, changing our desk, getting a formal hours agreement, that some of it is the change in behavior of our colleagues or the sensitivity of behavior of our colleagues. And I just listening to her, I realized actually for myself, that's one of the biggest adjustments that I benefit from. I'll contrast with an organization that I worked with earlier in my career, where if everyone worked 9 till 5, 9 till 6, whatever it was. And if you stood up from your desk with your bag at a time other than that, you would get some really quite uncomfortable comments, really some comments that could be frankly quite hurtful. The difference working at PwC, and I said sort of one of the key adjustments for me is my hours and being able to manage those. The respect that I get, not just from the people I work for, so not just the partners, but also my peers, other directors, and juniors that I work with as well, so people right the way through our spectrum, is people respect each other to manage their hours and their lives in the way that is appropriate for them. And I can honestly say I have never had a negative comment about the timings that I work or the way that I work, or if I say, actually, I'm going to be logging off for a bit. An example yesterday, someone said, can I have 10 minutes? And I said, I'm really sorry, but I simply need to take some time away from my computer. I will be back and we can put some time in. And there was no, oh no, we need to do it now, and I think that respect is a key part of the adjustment. The key adjustment for me is the timing, is the ability to manage my time. But the reason that works is because of the respect and the courtesy that comes with it in the way that we treat each other. And frankly, it's one of the major reasons I made my way back to the firm, is because I think that really is embedded into the culture here.
Thank you. I think it's really interesting that you touch on your experiences kind of at various different organizations, Lawrence, and you're a director now. And I wondered if I could ask you a follow-up in terms of, over the course of your career, have you noticed any differences or changes in how you manage your epilepsy and the support that's available?
Without question, I have. You asked about how or if we disclosed. At one of the former organizations, the way that I disclosed my epilepsy to my colleagues was having a full seizure in a bar when I was trying to fit in with a drinks evening. And that was how they found out I had epilepsy, which was probably not the most healthy way to do it. But that stage in my career, I didn't feel comfortable sharing it, and I'd tried quite hard to disguise it, and I ended up making a bad choice and putting myself in a position that wasn't great. At other places, I have shared it. I think what has changed is, one, my confidence, and I think certainly a part of that comes with seniority. So, I'm at a stage in my career now where I feel very confident sharing it. A part of it has come with a comfort with myself as well. You asked about disclosing, and I was talking to a colleague about this earlier in the week, and they said, they wanted to talk about whether they disclosed something quite personal during an interview process. And I said, look, it's entirely a decision for you, and there's a lot of elements to consider. But one of the elements to consider, I think, is if you feel you need to lie to people or you need to hide something about who you are, one of the questions I would ask yourself is, are these people I want to work for? If they make me feel that I have to hide something at the stage when we're all trying to sort of court each other and build a relationship, is this the right place for me? And I think that's one of the questions that I've learned to ask myself. The other thing I've noticed, and at PwC, having left and come back, PwC was great about it the first time around. I think now the thing that PwC is even better at is the embeddedness of the adjustment. So it's not just that there's a policy, it's not just that you can have a formal adjustment agreement, it's that your colleagues and the people you work for just kind of accept whatever it is and treat you with respect and as a human adult regardless. And I think that's really developed and grown over the years.
That's really positive to hear. Thank you for sharing that. Char, I'd like to bring you in, if I may, and ask, I mean, you mentioned that you were diagnosed as an adult, and I wondered if you had any reflections about, you know, your career and the support that you may have experienced or how you've navigated that.
Yeah, so prior to my diagnosis, I didn't feel comfortable asking for any adjustments, even though the condition was there. Not having the diagnosis to actually back it up. For example, a firm I worked at previously, I was asked to do reception duty. Just that's what we did as placement students on a rota for breaks. I hated it. The unexpected, the phone could ring. Who would they be asking for? What would they want? Do I even know who to put them through to? I didn't feel I had a reason to ask to not do it if everybody was expected to do it. Since I've got my diagnosis, I am definitely a lot more confident asking for certain adjustments, such as just if I get a bit overwhelmed in sort of very socially exciting situations, I can just take a few minutes and walk out of the room. Yep.
Great. Thank you for sharing. Actually, touching on confidence, I think, is a really nice link into our next question. If we could go on to the next slide, please. I have a question for you both, which is actually around kind of the social interaction and confidence. So have you shared your disability or neurodivergence with your colleagues that you work with? Lawrence, if I could come to you first, please.
Yeah, the short answer is with some, yes. It's a part of my identity. It's part of who I am. I'm not getting rid of it unless anyone happens to have a cure on the call, in which case I'm very open. But it's a part of who I am, and so to some I will talk about it. To some I won't. I've made a sort of personal decision this year. I want to be a little more visible and support it and raising awareness of it as part of the Dawn network this year. So I think I will probably be talking about it to a lot more of my colleagues this year. It's something I've sort of had a personal think about and decided it's something I want to share a bit more widely. Yeah, I'd say I probably haven't shared with as many of my colleagues as I might have, but that's something I think that I've decided I want to change.
That's really interesting. I might come back to you on the things sitting behind that decision, but first, Shah, I'll come to you and ask you the same question, please.
I would be quite similar in that I've brought it up naturally in conversation with some colleagues. It's not something I lead with when introducing myself. Just if it's relevant, I will mention it. For example, a colleague I'm currently working with mentioned a dislike of, certain monotonous tasks that were coming up in a sprint that we were doing, and I offered to help because my ASD means I actually find a lot of comfort in the repetition, so I enjoy those boring tasks.
That's a really nice example of kind of to come back to sort of the ethos of what we're trying to do around inclusion, creating teams where there are different tasks that people naturally enjoy and are better at, it means we can all work together really nicely. So to kind of thinking about the things that you've both shared then, and you mentioned, both of you, that you have chosen to share with some colleagues, but not all. What are some of the things for you personally that guide that decision? And how does that kind of feel for you when you do sort of bring it up for the first time with a new person? Lawrence, if I could start with you, please.
Yeah, there's always an element for me of there's a safety element, which is it's not a great idea for me if I'm in a workplace and nobody knows that I am predisposed to seizures. So there is an element of somebody ought to know about it, but sharing it more widely, I think the things that I always worry about are, will people understand? Will they make assumptions about what I am and am not capable of doing, or about my personality, or about my career trajectory, or all sorts of things, or what I'm capable of supporting the team on? Because the moment I say, oh, I've got working hours management that I have to do, will a manager say, oh, so you're not going to work hard? Which is very much not the case, but I do certainly feel that anxiety. I think I've probably got more practiced in explaining it over the years, but they're all things that I worry about. But likewise, I don't like feeling that there's an element of who I am that I've not shared with colleagues, because that doesn't feel great either. So it's always a balance. I don't know that I've solved it. I don't know that anyone ever solves it. You just kind of figure it out every day, I guess.
That's fair enough. Thank you for those reflections. And Char, the same question to you, kind of what guides the decision to share, and how do you feel about that?
Yeah, again, I agree. It's definitely a balancing act, because you don't want it to be a defining characteristic, but you want people to know. So, sometimes if I get overwhelmed, I'll start to stim, just sort of flappy hands and certain things to sort of calm myself a bit, to ground myself. I have found, though, that if knowing that my colleagues do know about it, I'm not worrying, how well am I masking today? Oh no, what if they see me stim? What are they going to think of me? It's definitely decreased the anxiety I experience in work that way. Just being open, I'm not as worried about how neurotypical I appear.
Thank you for sharing. That kind of also brings us on to our last question, around kind of exploring feelings around this very complicated landscape that it can be. But ultimately, I think for you both, it sounds like it's been really positive in many of the experiences you've had. But the question is, what advice would you give to others who maybe are worried about being open about their disability or neurodivergence? So Lawrence, if I could start with you.
Gosh, it's such a huge. We went through these questions, and I when I looked at this one and we talked about it, it's such a huge question, isn't it? I think all I can possibly do is reflect on my own experience and the workplaces that I've seen. And I think the truth is, there are workplaces and environments where it can be challenging and where you can have negative feedback. And I think there's no point in not being very honest about that. But there are also workplaces and cultures, work cultures and communities where it can be an incredibly positive and supportive environment. And I think choosing a workplace, choosing an environment on the basis of that, the supportiveness of it, on the basis of the positivity, on how comfortable you feel, I think is a great way to help find somewhere that you can, if you choose, be open about it. And I think that is probably the best advice that I can offer, which is put yourself into healthy, supportive environments, and the decision about whether or not you share will be an easier one to address. But I think the first thing is you've got to put yourself into healthy environments as a key way of taking care of yourself. And then this decision kind of flows from that. I guess that's the best advice I've got. I've thought about it all night and I couldn't come up with anything more useful than that, I'm afraid.
Oh, I know. I think all the reflections you have are going to be helpful. So thank you for taking the time to reflect and to share. Charles, same question to you. What advice might you potentially give to others?
Yeah, I mean, some people are more private than others, and that's fine. You know, you don't have to disclose if you don't want to. Personally, I have found, you know, as cliche as it is, honesty is the best policy. But that's just me. That's all the only person I can speak for. Lawrence made a very good point earlier that if you feel like you have to hide a part of who you are, whether it be during the recruitment process or, you know, during employment, is that somewhere that you really want to work? If you can't be yourself authentically, you know, I think that is a very important thing to think about.
Yeah, I think that really comes back to what we're trying to focus on in terms of it's not just about diversity, but inclusion is about feeling like you can truly belong in a place and it feels like a welcoming place for you. So, I mean, we actually had a really interesting chat about this question, didn't we, when we were looking through them in advance? And Lawrence, I think you made the great point about, well, actually take it back a step. Should people have to be open? And we had lots of kind of interesting reflections on it. And I think we were sort of thinking, well, no, it does depend on the person's situation. If there's something you need, or to your point, Char, if there's something that colleagues might notice that you'd like them to have an understanding of the context around, then perhaps it can be helpful. But it really is a very personal decision. And when I mentioned when talking through our strategy and what we're trying to achieve, we want to make it possible for people to be open if that's what they'd like, but we certainly don't want to oblige people if it's not relevant for them in their current situation. So thank you very much, Lawrence and Char, for sharing your reflections on these questions. Just before we go over to the audience Q&A section, I'd like to ask you both if you have any final thoughts, and no pressure if you don't, and if you feel you've covered everything, but I'll give you both an opportunity in turn just to share any final reflections. So Lawrence, starting with you.
I think the only additional reflection I want to have, and we've talked a huge amount about adjustments, about working and being in an employer with disabilities or neurodivergence and that experience. I just want to reflect something separate simply on my own experience, which is PwC as a place to work as a human, regardless of your personal situation, but simply as a human. The reason I came back, and having worked at other organizations, you know, other large organizations, and I made the decision to come back, was because of the culture it has for everyone. And it's a culture for people with disabilities, it's a culture for people who need adjustments, and it's a culture for just a lovely community to work in. It's one of the reasons I was really excited to participate in this, because I actually genuinely really like the firm. And it really is a very nice place to work. So this is also just as an absolutely shameless plug. We're currently recruiting, and we're currently recruiting lots of people in our financial crime team. And, you know, we would love to have a broad range of people coming and joining us. I would really enjoy working with a broad range of people. So feel free to have a look at that. Sorry, Kim, I did warn you I was going to do a little shameless plug there.
That's fair enough entirely. Char, I don't know if you have anything to plug, but if you do have any reflections at all that you'd like to share, feel free.
I feel I've covered everything. I guess just one of the points I noticed, I haven't had a chance to read the chat as it's been going on, as I've too many distractions. But I did notice somebody saying about how, you know, a lot of companies talk the talk when it comes to this sort of thing. I guess my experience with PwC during the recruitment process, that the fact that I said no to adjustments the first time, yet I was asked again, you know, okay, you said that, but we noticed, you know, are you sure? And that just sort of gave me a bit more confidence in that they actually do mean it when they say that they are supportive of people with neurodivergences. I had a great chat with during my second interview about our disability awareness network and our inclusivity and diversity things. You know, it just felt genuine. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That's really positive to hear. And likewise, I've been seeing loads of engagement in the chat, which is brilliant, but I have confessed I haven't been able to keep up with it either. But the good news is I'm now going to hand back over to Relay to host a bit of a audience Q&A. So we'll be able to come to people's comments and questions. So thank you. And over to you, Relay.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks for that, Kim. And thank you to Shah and Lawrence for sharing your stories with us. I believe there's loads of people who resonate with it in the comments in the chat box section. So you can have a read through of that if you wish to. I'm just aware of the time. We've only got about 15 minutes left. So I'm just going to go through the Q&A box and read out some questions for the team at PwC to answer for us. I'm not sure if we might have covered some of this stuff already. Margaret says, have you looked at the type of roles you hire for and provide flexible working arrangements for people with long-term conditions? Don't know who would like to take that one.
I mean, I can have a bit of a stab at that, Relay, although I should probably preface it with I'm not in our recruitment team, so probably don't have the depth of information to share, but it is something we can follow up on because we do look at the flexibility for our roles. We have something at PwC called the Deal, which is our employee value proposition, and Lawrence touched on this. Our concept of flexibility, empowered flexibility, where we sort of try and create that trust for people to work where and when suits the tasks that they're carrying out that day. So, you know, for me personally, I'm working from home today and I do a mix between kind of 3 days at home, 2 days in the office, some people more, some people less. So it is possible. It probably very much depends on the role, but we'd be happy to look into that more. You also find more information on our careers website around these kinds of topics.
Okay.
I don't know if others have reflections from personal experience.
I just like to pick up on one thing. I was just reading Margaret's question, and she highlighted something that is very relevant. She talked about the postings and the language that's used in job descriptions. We are trying very hard, and in our recent recruitment campaign, we thought very hard about the way we structure our job descriptions to try and make them as inclusive as possible. There is always room for improvement on those. And what I will say is, if you see something in a job description that feels exclusive or you feel excludes you simply because of the nature of adjustments you might need, by all means, get in touch with our HC team and they can get in touch with the hiring managers and make sure that that wasn't wording that was thoughtless as opposed to intentionally exclusive. You know, we are doing our best. I went through that process, but we certainly always accept there is room to improve that.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks for that, Lawrence. So hopefully we can get through all the questions during this session, but if not, I'll send them over to PwC and we'll get some more detailed answers back. Silvana's asking, do you only recruit via the interview process, which she says is, or he says, problematic for some ASD people? What are your policies regarding 50+ applicants, and do you only take graduates? I think that's loads of questions.
I can answer some of that. To be transparent, I don't know our recruitment policies in depth, so I probably can't speak to the question around the numbers there. But Our standard process for many roles is an interview process, but we recognise that that does have some systematic barriers for some people, depending on the impact of their neurodivergence or disability. So that's where we have built in the question around adjustments to that. And there's always scope to discuss alternative options. We've got a team in recruitment who will talk to candidates one-on-one about the impacts they experience and what personally helps them, and then we'll make adjustments. So although we do have a standard process, we can adjust for that. And I will say that some of our roles do also use different kinds of assessments, and for a lot of our roles in our operate line of service, there are different types of assessments being used. So I think it's worth, if there's something you're interested in, get in touch. We're more than happy to have a conversation over phone or email about what's involved. And do we only take graduates? No, we hire for experienced roles and for school leavers and university leavers, so all sorts.
Brilliant. And also, I just realized within that question was, what are your policies regarding, I'm guessing it's people aged 50 plus applicants?
Oh, was it about age? I thought it was about number of applicants. We don't kind of have any, we don't discriminate around age. I mean, it would be very wrong for us to do so. You can apply to us no matter how old you are.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that, Kim. And then I think this will be the final question that we're able to do on this. Sarah Ellis is saying, is there scope to work virtually if you're having a bad period with your condition? I'll just finish off. I'm graduating in 2023 and I'm not in a position with my health to be able to live alone. I've never felt comfortable asking questions like that. So thank you to Shah and Lawrence for being so open and honest and giving me confidence to ask.
The reason I was quite excited to answer that, and I jumped in there, LA, I apologize, was
okay.
A member of our team had exactly, of my team, had exactly that situation and did. And there was no concern. We found ways to make sure that this individual was fully supported, and not just that, but was fully engaged, still got technical, challenging work, and was able to really deliver exciting and be a part of exciting client work, still a part of team meetings, and was fully connected to the team. And Sarah, we're very grateful that you feel comfortable asking that question in this environment. Thank you very much. And congratulations on graduating next year. Very exciting.
Brilliant. Okay, thanks for that, Lawrence. We've tried to get through all the questions, but I believe there's too many to do in this session. So we will take all the questions and send them to PwC and get the answers back to you. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is just put a close to today's amazing session. There is something on the screen now where if you have a smartphone, you can scan the barcode. Is it a QR code, I think it's called? And can Kim explain what that does, please?
Of course, yes. So if you have a smartphone, you can scan the QR code that's displayed on the screen, and that will take you to a link for information about our talent network, and that's how you can hear about opportunities that are currently open and find out more about our careers. We also have displayed on the screen links to our social media handles for our careers information, so on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, and the information, the website link for our careers site, which I imagine we could probably post in the chat as well, that URL, just for people who maybe can't scan the QR code. So yeah, that's if you would like to find out more about working for us, and we really hope that you do.
Fantastic. And also, we do have, if you'd like to go to the Even Break website and check out PwC's profile page, I believe Toby has put the link in the chat box for that. So yeah, I'd like to say, thank you very much for attending. This is the end of the session with PwC. Kim, Shah, Lawrence, thank you very much for your time today and sharing your amazing stories of working at PwC and letting our audience know about the help and support that is available at PwC. We really appreciate it. And my thanks to Toby, Carleen, and Claire as well, a captioner and BSL interpreter. Thank you for your help today. I hope you feel your questions have been answered, and we look forward to seeing you at our next Meet the Employer session. Don't forget to check out our other events on the Career Hive website. If Toby could please help us put the link for the Career Hive events page in the chat box. And all that's left for me to say is have a great day, and we hope to see you again soon. Bye from all of us at Even Break and PwC as well.